Hey, it's Mario here, and in this video I decided to share with you guys the best training advice that I ever got. So this video is a follow-up on the one that I did on the worst training advice that I ever got, which is going to be linked in the description below. In that video I debunked a couple of myths that were holding me back on this journey, and in this one, these are the things that I focused on for the last 6 years that I still focus on. It's things that are getting me the results. So the advice number one is the fundamental, the core principle of training, and that is an advice that I got from an older guy in the gym. He was in his 40s and he just simply said, you have to be getting stronger over time. And that's the old progressive tension overload, the core principle of training. That's what we are trying to do. We're trying to get stronger over time. Because this guy told me he was in his 40s, he was training for about 20 years. He saw a lot of guys who were successful, unsuccessful, and he basically said, well, if the guy's lifting the same amount of weight all the time, if he's not adding more weight, if he's not pushing himself, he's gonna look the same. And that is absolutely correct. If I keep lifting the same weight I'm doing right now, my body doesn't have a reason to change. 3 years from now, if I'm doing the same reps for the same weight, with the same form, with the same exercise, I'm gonna be looking the same. And the core principle of training, as I said, is really managing yourself in a way that you're gonna be adding weight to the bar. And this is a little bit different depending on your experience level. As a beginner, you probably notice that you can go to the gym and just add weight to the bar every time you step into the gym. As an intermediate, maybe it's a little bit harder. So first, let's give you an example here. Let's say you can do 225 bench press for 7 reps. That's one set. And now you're gonna try to master that 225 and get it to 10 reps. And once you get it to 10 reps, for let's say 3 sets, you're gonna add more weight and kind of go back with the reps. And then you will gonna master again that new weight for 10 reps. That's a very easy progression scheme you can use to kind of get stronger over time, because it's no longer possible to just keep adding weight to the bar. As an advanced athlete, as someone who's been training for a couple of years, where I'm currently at, I have to incorporate things like block periodization, where I'm deliberately working on a specific repetition range in one block, or more volume or more intensity, that I'm gonna deload and manage my fatigue, then in hopes that I can lift more weight after the deload. That's a basic general principle there in terms of periodization. What it's used for essentially is just managing your fatigue while you're also getting stronger over time. But getting you stronger over time is the principle. That is the fundamental, and that is something that personally, I admit that I've tried to find ways around it. You know, I try to find a shortcut through research, evidence, reading all sorts of stuff, but none of it works. Really, if you're not getting stronger, none of this stuff really works. So it's about focused on that, or being focused on that fundamental, and at the same time, realize that there's no way around it. If you're looking to build a great looking body, being ripped, being lean, you have to give your body a reason to grow. And there's no reason if you're doing the same thing, in a sense that you don't change the exercise, but you really focus on adding more weight, because that stressor has to increase. Your body is an adaptive mechanism. It adapts, simply adapts. And if it has no reason to adapt, it won't adapt. So you have to be increasing the stressor, and your body will compensate by increasing muscle size, getting you those bigger, stronger muscles, at the same time even more endurance if you're working on that, but it has to come from that increase of weight. So that was the first piece of advice that I would say that really changed the way I look at things, because now I knew what I need to focus on, and everything else was kind of secondary. So it doesn't really matter if my program came from the internet, or if I designed my program myself, or whatever it came from, but it had to have that component of progressive tension overload, of getting stronger over time, and that gave me kind of the clear direction where I needed to go, and 100% works. As a natural lifter, that is the main thing you need to be focused on. The second piece of advice kind of builds up on the first one, and that's a piece of advice that I got in my third year of training. So halfway through my journey, I've been training for 6 years now. The third year of training, I actually got caught up into trying a lot of different fucking things. So I was like a guy who was trying different types of programs. I was doing a variety of different splits. I was thinking that I can find some kind of magical method or a shortcut. And it's really that piece of advice that I got from a guy is that stop fucking around, commit. And that's a big piece of advice there, because a lot of guys are caught into what Martin Berkham calls the fuck around-itis. You know, we try to avoid the fact that we need to do heavy deadlifts. We try to avoid the fact that we need to lift heavy on the squat. We try to find ways to compensate for us not getting stronger in the bench press. We really try to find a shortcut around hard work all the time. And me as kind of an analytical, overanalyzing guy, I was like, okay, if I go into all the research, if I go into all the forums, and if I read all the stuff that the guys are posting, there must be something, there must be some kind of edge that I need to learn or get from guys who had coaches or guys who are on the top. They know something I don't know, and that's why they're progressing so much. But in reality, it's not true. The reason why these guys are progressing because they committed to mastering certain lifts, they committed to mastering certain fundamentals. So a guy who said, hey, I'm gonna be doing bench press, squat, and deadlift, and those are my committed lifts, they don't have to be yours. They can be dumbbells, they can be incline bench press, they can be leg press, so whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but it has to be a commitment behind it. Because once you commit to a movement, you actually give yourself that mastery curve, that journey with that movement where you can get stronger and stronger and stronger, and that's what's gonna give you the progress. It's not about fucking around and doing a billion different giant sets, trisets, supersets, drop sets, or whatever the hell with pink dumbbells or whatever guys are doing. It's coming down to the fact that you want to master the fundamentals, and then all this other kind of stuff that is like the cherry on top, you can do that. You can fuck around with supersets. You can do these trisets. I mean, they're really good in terms of that they allow you to get your workout done faster, and they can be very fun and do all these things. But leave that to the isolation movements. Leave that for the end of the workout. In the beginning of the workout, focus on the core fundamental movements and commit to certain movements. And that commitment is the part that I was missing. I was always changing my lifts. I was non-stop. I was doing bench press one week, next week, oh, I need to switch it up. Let me do dumbbells. And until I started to realize, well, if I commit to the bench press, I'm going to be getting stronger in the bench press, and that bench press will going to generate me the result. And bench press worked for me. For you, maybe you want to do the dumbbell bench press, maybe you want to do the incline, maybe you want to do the chest press machine. It doesn't matter, but you have to commit to something and stick with that, and then change the other half. So don't change everything all the time, which was one big mistake that I did. So with this advice that I got from a guy in my third year training, I was like, holy shit, I was missing that point. I was focused too much on trying to find a shortcut and not master the fundamentals. Huge point here for all of you guys, regardless if you're doing bodybuilding type of training, powerlifting type of training, whatever you're doing, stick to certain things for the long haul and you will get more results from these things. And the third piece of advice that I just got actually recently, a couple of years ago, was the advice that I should not compare myself to someone else in my journey. And this is a big one. This is something I have to remind my clients all the time of, and this is something I have to remind myself all the time of, because I'm constantly getting notified by Instagram, Facebook, and I'm seeing all these photos of people who are progressing. They're getting amazing results. They might be training less than me. They might be training just for a year or two, and they look fucking fantastic. They look much better than me. And it's easy to fall into that trap of comparing yourself with them. It's easy to fall into the trap that you hate yourself, you start blaming your genetics, you start thinking that your training program sucks or anything like that. I mean, it's all really swaying you from the true path, right? And the true path is really becoming the best version of yourself. And on that path, you can only really compare yourself to yourself. So now, the way I look at this, my mindset currently is, and the mindset that the guy told me, is that if you keep comparing yourself to others, number one, you're gonna be miserable. Even if you find guys who are quote unquote worse off than you, guys who have less of experience, they have worse genetics, quote unquote, or whatever. If you look better than them, it might give you a temporary fix. You know, you might be feeling better about yourself for a little bit, but there's always someone who's gonna look better than you, and you're gonna eventually run into them and you're gonna feel like shit. And if you have that ego type of motivation where you wanna be better than someone else and coming that from a very like wrong perspective, or I'm gonna be the best, you will never be the best in the world. There's no such thing. And even if you were the best in the world, like, what does that matter, right? So the way I look at it right now is really try to get out of that comparison mode and really compare yourself with yourself. So the only person can truly be better than is the person you see in the mirror, the person who you were yesterday. So if you moved 0.0001% better than you were yesterday, that is the ultimate goal. And this really put me out of that mindset where I was like, oh shit, my calves are not as big as that guy, or my chest sucks compared to that guy, or anything else. We're all unique creatures. At the end of the day, we have individual responses to different types of training. Our genetic profile, our blueprint is completely unique. We are individuals who have a different lifestyle, so my lifestyle is not the same as yours watching this video, and we have to acknowledge all of these factors and realize that it's about becoming the best version of yourself and doing the best you can do. That's ultimately all you can do. There's nothing more you can expect from yourself than doing the best job you can in that moment. And if you give it all you got, I mean, that's everything you can ever ask for yourself. And that's kind of the mindset that really settled me down. I stopped becoming obsessed with social media. I could easily zone out. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. You can even like now I just compliment guys. I'm like, okay, that's amazing, dude. Like you're getting great results. I mean, I'm happy for you, but still, I mean, I have to do my reps, you know, I have to do my reps for me. Nobody else can do the reps for me. Even if you know something that works for you, that doesn't matter if it doesn't work for me. I know what I need to do. And that's the thing where really we have to be more focused on our own journey and not letting ourselves get distracted by all these random things. So that would be the piece of advice number 3 that really helped me a lot. It's more of a mindset shift there that really got me back to on track where I needed to be. So hope you guys enjoyed this quick video here on the top 3 advice that I got, the best advice that I ever got. So let me know in the comments below, what is the best piece of advice that you ever got when it comes to training? And aside from that, make sure to hit that subscribe button, close to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.